Aditya, a cheerful 10-year-old boy, lived in bustling Bengaluru. Summer vacations meant only one thing to him: visiting his grandparents in the serene village of Thirupuram. The thought of wide green fields, playful animals, and his loving Tata, grandfather, and Payati, grandmother, filled him with excitement. When he arrived, his Tata was waiting under the majestic banyan tree that stood like a sentinel at the village entrance. "Aditya, my boy," Tata greeted, wrapping him in a warm hug. Days passed in joyful adventures, climbing mango trees, chasing butterflies, and splashing in the river. But Aditya's favorite moments were the evenings under the banyan tree, where Tata shared his wisdom through stories. One evening, as the sun set, painting the sky in soft orange hues, Aditya plopped down beside Tata. "Tata, tell me a story," he said eagerly. Tata smiled, his wrinkled face glowing. "Not just a story today, Aditya. I want to show you something." Intrigued, Aditya followed his grandfather. They stopped under the banyan tree, its roots sprawling like the arms of a giant. "Do you see this tree?" Tata asked. Aditya nodded. "Yes, it's so big and strong. This tree has stood here for over 100 years, Tata said, running his hand over the bark. It shelters travelers, birds, and children playing in its shade. Yet it never asks for anything in return. It just gives." Aditya looked at the tree with newfound wonder, but before he could ask more, Tata gestured for him to follow. They reached the riverbank, where moonlight shimmered on the water's surface. Tata pointed to the flowing river. "And this river, do you see how it moves endlessly? It quenches our thirst, waters our crops, and fills our ponds. Like the tree, it gives without hesitation." Aditya frowned. "But Tata, doesn't it get tired? What if the river wants to stop or the tree wants to rest?" Tata chuckled and sat on a rock, gesturing for Aditya to sit beside him. "That's the secret, my boy. They find joy in giving. The banyan tree feels proud as it shelters others. The river is happy because its flow brings life. Their happiness comes not from taking, but from giving." Aditya tilted his head, pondering this. "But I'm just a kid. How can I be like a tree or a river?" Tata smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You can share your toys with friends, help your parents, or be kind to someone sad. Even small acts of giving can make a big difference." Seeing Aditya's curious face, Tata continued, "Let me tell you a story about this river. Many years ago, during a terrible drought, the river almost dried up. The villagers prayed and worked tirelessly, but water was scarce. Yet even as a trickle, the river kept flowing, sharing its last drops. Inspired, the people came together, helping one another. When the rains returned, the river swelled back to life, stronger than ever. It not only gave water, but taught the villagers to give and care for each other." Aditya's eyes sparkled. "So the river saved the village?" "Yes," Tata said, "by showing them the power of selflessness." Aditya sat quietly, absorbing the lesson. The next day, he began practicing small acts of giving, helping his grandmother with chores, sharing sweets with the village kids, and even filling water bowls for birds. Each act filled him with a quiet joy. When summer ended, Aditya hugged Tata tightly. "I'll remember the tree and the river, Tata. I'll try to be like them." Tata smiled with pride. "You're already on your way." Back in the city, Aditya carried the lesson with him. He helped classmates, surprised his parents with thoughtful actions, and spread kindness wherever he went. With each act of giving, he felt a happiness far greater than anything he'd ever received. Years later, Aditya often thought of his Tata, the banyan tree, and the river. Their silent wisdom stayed with him, shaping him into someone others could rely on, a source of strength, kindness, and happiness. In giving, he discovered a life full of purpose and joy. Moral: true happiness lies not in what we take, but in what we give.